The Integrity Station. Splash.
106.7.
A wonderful morning starts with integrity. The integrity starts with you.
Splash FM 106.7.
Panorama.
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 Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
Gives a great pleasure to know that you look forward to this program every single day, or every single weekday, as the case is, from Mondays through Fridays, to bring you happenings around the country and the world at large, as we seek to inform, entertain, and in some way also get to educate you. Hope you slept well. Today's the 18th of May, 2022. Welcome to the conversation and the program as a whole. My name is Benga Fayon.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. It's great to be here again today. My name is Lola Meduteni.
Great. So you know how the program runs, but for those who are, for some reason you just stumbled on it, let's do some introduction, and so you know exactly what to expect during the course of the show. We have two segments that make up the show. We call it Panorama. The first segment is called the Issue of the Day, where we'll bring something topical to the fore and discuss at length with a resource person in that regard. And, in some way try to get solutions to various or myriad of challenges that might be bedeviling the nation and whatever sector we spotlight, basically. And we have right after that from 9 a.m., we'd have what we'll call From the Pages, as we look at what the dailies have reported for that day, and also touch on that, basically. So, that makes up the entire conversation from now till about some few minutes to 10. Issue of the Day, meanwhile, run from now till just about 5 minutes to 9. And for those who want to join us from around the world, our Facebook stream is up and running, so you could join us via Facebook at Splash FM 1067, at Splash FM 1067. As the conversation progresses, feel free to drop your thoughts as we move on. And we also have a WhatsApp channel, very, very active and very available as well. And so you can join us via that
today.
Oh, great. So the number is 0817-555-1067. That is 0817-555-1067. Note the numbers down when we begin to pay attention to your calls. 0704-400-1067, 0817-444-1067, as well as 0705-050-1067. Proceed straight now for the issue of the day. For every country of the world, challenges surface from time to time. For what it's worth, these challenges are as diverse as they come. Matter of fact, recently the President of the United States, Joe Biden, alluded to white supremacy in his country. In his words, in America, evil will not win. I promise you, hate will not prevail. White supremacy will not have the last word. Let's bring this home to Nigeria. Fanaticism is not unusual. This is a problem many have highlighted and feel is even more prevalent up north.
News erupted last week of the lynching of a 200-level home economics student of Shehu Shagari College of Education, Sokoto State, Deborah Samuel, on 12th of May. Reports say that the student was lynched to death over alleged blasphemy. A violent street protest followed the arrest of suspects linked to the lynching of Deborah, as the protesters demanded the immediate release by security operatives. Governor Aminu Tambuwal of Sokoto State consequently imposed a 24-hour curfew on Sokoto Metropolis on Saturday. He relaxed the curfew on Monday to be observed from dusk to dawn.
In the face of issues like this, what hopes are there? Joining with us this morning as we discuss justice for Deborah, legal and security concerns in the face of religious fanaticism. And to join us in having that conversation, trying to catch his breath some. We have Barrister Aderemi right here with us in the studio. And during the course of the conversation as well, we'd connect with the Force Public Relations Officer. I'm talking about Nigeria Police Force, CSP Muyiwa Adejobi via the telephone. Barrister Aderemi, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Bingo. Thank you, Lola.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, so I read a piece as update to the news. I mean, I know that the country has been discussing this at length and the implications of the events that happened last Thursday. And I got to the point where the suspects have been arraigned in court. The prosecuting counsel made a case. The defense counsel also said a few words. And I got to the point where it said the name of the judge was withheld for security reasons. I mean, as a legal practitioner, is that worrisome for you?
Yes, it is. That's my answer. I mean, as simple
Is
as
it
that,
unusual? Is this something that has happened before, citing those concerns?
Not one that I'm aware of, before now, really. Of course, it calls for concern because for me, that's a very, it's a bad indication, it's a red flag, and then it forms precedent when it's done once. Having repeated would be something of course, that begins to embolden people that believe that they can lynch on basis of religion. That, of course, they fear so much that they can't even mention the judge's name. It has a lot of unintended consequences when such is done, So, for me, it's another blow. So, and it's a low for me. And it's a no. Blow. It's another low.
If we have to look at consequences of actions like this, I mean, as a legal practitioner, does it mean that those in the legal profession cannot be bold about their profession and what they do, dispensation of justice, basically?
No, what it means is that no one is safe in the country. If, I read in a book many years ago, about 20 years ago, that boldness does not mean, or confidence does not mean going about looking for trouble, that you are confident. A proof of your confidence would not mean that you just go slap a police officer, for example, or slap Denga or slap Ola. That's not confidence, that's stupidity, really. So when you do something, you want to stand for something, and you know that the security apparatus are lacking. If a governor could be attacked, e.g. Autumn, then how much less, a judge or a lawyer. A governor, for example, is believed to be the number one person in the state. It told us how he ran for maybe kilometers or something to escape. So imagine what will happen or what will happen to a judge that had just one orderly as a police officer following him or about. So it's quite understandable. For me, it is not timidity on part of the judiciary or the lawyers. Rather, it's a failure of the government to secure lives and properties. So the judge would know that if something happens, it will be difficult to protect him or her. So that's the reason. I rather allude it to failure of the government.
Do you think this could be part of a cover-up that would make it easy for justice to not prevail in Deborah's case?
I can't rule out anything. I can't rule out anything. For example,
But it's possible?
Absolutely, it is. For example, I read that as far as I'm concerned, if I were to charge those guys, I'll charge them for, we don't have aggravated murder, in Nigeria, or things like that. You have first degree, second degree. In Nigeria, murder is murder. They all come under homicide, whether manslaughter or murder, really. So, of course, to be murder, but from what I read in the news, they were charged for less offenses. Something like disturbing public peace, something like that. So already we begin to see that we are seeing very, very dangerous and worrisome signs that what ought to be done to those guys seem not to be what they're doing to them. So yeah, it's a possibility.
I was going to come to the charges. The NBA has protested against those charges, what it calls mere breach of public peace, although it's not been confirmed, but insiders say that those are the charges brought against them. Is there anything, if indeed those are the charges brought against these suspects, is there anything that can be done to correct that from those who are outraged, having watched the video and seen the lynching and the burning?
Yes, I also read on the news, that can some Christians in Benue, just midwest of Nigeria, are about to protest. That's one of the things that will be done. So there's something we call charge amendment. After a charge has been filed in court, And even after arraignment, even during trial, it's possible to amend the charge. That is, bring the person properly before the court under the offenses that person ought to have been brought. So it's possible, yeah.
But if the state government, I mean, the state government is it's only the state government that can try them, right?
Correct.
So if the state government refuses to do that and insists that it wants to try them on public peace, is there anything that can be done legally?
Check history, Lola. I've tried to, at times, when I want to understand the future, I try to look at the past. Maybe that's why you must say that when an adult falls down, he looks back. Looking back for what made me fall, rather. But if a child or a baby falls by instinct, the child doesn't bother, just gets up and keeps going, right? What that means is that the past can be important at times, right? Check through history. When the government is playing, deaf to people's voices, what follows is that their blood will speak. So where voices stop speaking, blood will speak. That's just check history.
That's the way it has played out in the past.
For example, the NDA, they've been shouting, "They're Goni guys, you are polluting our waters." Nobody was listening until heads started rolling, people started dying. Look at IPOP too. They were proscribed rather in Nigeria, but they didn't start by carrying arms. They started by saying that we've been marginalized and all that. Look at Igboho. All right, Ihu Wole Soyinka traveled to the Benin Republic to visit Igboho. He has not visited me in Abeokuta. We stay here together. Now is close to him. That's a strong support. That's a strong voice. That's a strong message to everyone, really. So, and consider the mass, followership that Igbo controls, for example, just one guy. That means there are people, maybe in the millions, that believe in what it stands for, really. Whether it's right or wrong is not what I'm discussing. Talking about what I see, in media and the like. So, where people are asking for something and the government is turning them, same thing. Ditto ASU strike. ASU don't just go on strike because they don't go on strike because they feel aggrieved yesterday and today they are on strike. No, many letters are written many times, consultations, negotiations, agreements, which oftentimes are breached by the government. Last often, strike rather, is often the last resort. So when people are asking for something normally, and the government is playing deaf ears like it's happening in the country, of course, over many issues, what follows is protest, strike, bloodshed at times. So I wouldn't even be surprised if the protest they want to do, comes with bloodshed. At times, the price that must be paid. How did I know that? Again, history. So people should keep on speaking until the right thing is done. Yeah.
Well, this happened in 2016 where Bridget Agbahime was murdered in Kano State, also for alleged blasphemy. And the Kano State government actually freed the suspects and dropped the case. They freed the suspects and they dropped the case. So beyond the people protesting and, showing their displeasure by going out on the streets, if the Sokoto State government should go the way of the Kano State government, by law, is there anything that can be done to change that?
There is something called mandamus. Mandamus is one of, the big name is judicial review. What it means is that it has three things under it. We have habeas corpus, we have mandamus, we have certiorari, and I think habeas corpus. What it means basically is that when something is not done right, the courts have power, of course, it's a process, to go over whoever is not doing it right, to get it done right. An example is happening before Ogun State High Court 2 today. As I leave the studio, you can see I'm dressed for the court.
Right.
Where, for example, the NSAS panel was released in July 2021 in Nigeria, in Ogun State. Until date, the governor has refused to
publish the findings.
Exactly. We have the FOI Act. In full, it means Freedom of Information Act. Section 1 confers rights on all Nigerians. Anyone, actually. You don't have to be a petitioner in that NSAS report to apply for that. And the law says, in Section 24 and the likes, 25 and the likes, say that, it has 7 days from the date of receipt of that request to publish such. In fact, the law says it will be published widely on virtually all social media. Give it to Splash FM, for example, give it to this and that newspaper and the like. So that's what the law says. So where that is not happening, we can do what we call mandamus. Mandamus is, seeking an order compelling whoever is supposed to do something that refused to do it. So it's possible, yeah.
All right.
All right, thank you very much for staying with us. Well, we have joining us via the telephone now the Force Public Relations Officer at the Nigeria Police Force, that is CSP Muyiwa Adejobi. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. How are you doing?
We're very well. Thank you for joining us. So, you've heard the developments as part of the Barrister Samuel Yakubu's story, who was a 200-level student in Sokoto and was lynched on allegations of blasphemy. We have updates that the police have declared fleeing suspect captured in a viral video of the killing and subsequent setting on fire of the Barrister Samuel wanted for culpable homicide. I mean, can you confirm this? And how concerning is it for the Nigeria Police Force that this development happened?
Well, it's just an unfortunate incident. Generally, we think by now we should have outgrown this level of religious intolerance and this kind of barbaric acts. In Nigeria, almost every quarter of the society has condemned this gruesome killing, and which, of course, even in the police, we have condemned such a thing. By and large, the Sokoto State Command has been working on this, and the matter is still on. They have arraigned some people in court, and they have declared others wanted because it was a mob action. We are only using our ICT ideas to pick the suspects who are at large. But we are assuring Nigerians that we are going to get all of them. We're going to follow up, and we are closing in on them to make sure they are apprehended and face the full wrath of the law. So it's quite unfortunate, but I just think that by now in Nigeria we should have outgrown this. We should live as a family. The Africanism in us must come to bear now at this particular point in time, that we cannot declare ourselves just because of a mere conflict on issues like this. So that's just it. But we are on the matter, and everybody is concerned about this. Everybody has condemned this act, even some scholars that have condemned this. So it's quite unfortunate.
Well, according to the videos that we saw of the tragic incidents, there were quite a number of people involved in the lynching, definitely more than the two suspects that were apprehended. Is the police having difficulty apprehending the suspects seen in the video lynching Deborah?
Well, the suspects, that's why we call them fleeing suspects. They are not stable anywhere. So we need to adopt certain ways, certain methods, particularly scientific method of tracing them before we apprehend. Now we are tracing them because they are not in a particular location. It's not a difficulty per se, but the only thing is going to take some time because we are tracing them. We don't have the exact address of where they are so that we can go and pick them. So we are tracing them. After tracing them, we're going to get them. So we are adopting or deploying all our ICT ideas and assets to see how we can get them. Fine, we have been able to pick some faces. What is left is to trace and pick them. So it's not a matter of difficulty or no difficulty. It's just a matter of time now, so that Nigerians can understand what we are facing. It's not that police don't want to pick them, but they are not in any exact or particular location where we can just lay our hands on them. So we are tracing them with our ICT-based technologies and approaches so that we can apprehend them and bring them to book. But we will get all of them. One good thing about the criminal offense is that there's no statute bar, no limitation of statute or limitation. We can pick up the case at any time, even the next 2, 4, 5, 20 years. So no statute bar when it comes to issue of criminal offenses like this. So anytime we pick them, they will still be brought and be caused to face the full wrath of the law.
All right. I know we'll have to release it very shortly, but before we let you go, many have expressed opinions of how strong some sort of system is in that part of the country. That, I mean, you saw the protest that erupted on Saturday, and the governor had to declare a curfew as a result of the protest. I mean, the protesters were demanding for the release of the alleged suspects in this regard. Is that not a problem that might also hinder the police in picking up the suspects and in the eventual prosecution of the suspects if they're found guilty?
There are laws in the land. Even you could see the protesters were professionally handled and dispersed. And that protest was an indication that you could see that no trained or experienced Islamic scholar would support that, and to the extent that they even went to go attack the house of someone who is number one Muslim in Nigeria, that is the southern of Sokoto. So it's for you to know that those that are how to protest might not be real Muslim brothers, perhaps to us, and that's why the command described them as miscreants or hoodlums. Because for you to say, you can't claim to be more Roman Catholic than the Pope. Because the southern is number one Muslim in Nigeria today, to the best of my knowledge, and is the one that you are going to attack. If you are fighting for the cause of Islam, and you are attacking southern, so you should know that these people who came out, they are not genuine Muslim brothers. That's my belief and my perception about the protest. And that's why we noticed that they wanted to be violent and they wanted to cause brouhaha in Sokoto. And they were professionally neutralized, they were professionally dispersed. And the clamoring for release is not holding any ground because the suspects have been charged to court. And we are still charging more because those that are charged to court is with others, which means at any point in time we pick any of these suspects, they will still be added to the charge, and there's room for improvement or vetting of these charges. So it is not that they are protesting for the release. Nobody is going to release them. Nobody is going to release them. And you could see those that came out protesting, bonfire, attacking this, attacking that. It's an indication that they are ulams. They are not Muslim brothers, because you cannot claim to be more Roman Catholic than the Pope. If you could descend so low attacking the palace of number one Muslim man, who is supposed to be your own leader. So we believe that they are not Muslim brothers, and those who came out are just ulams who are just wanted to capitalize on that incident, to cash out or to do whatever atrocity they wanted to perform. So it's not holding any water. The matter is on. We'll arrest as many as possible. The IGT has assisted the command in deploying some operatives, homicide section operatives from Force CID to assist the command. And the Force headquarters is assisting the command as a when due. So it is not a case that anybody is going to sweep under the carpet. It's of concern to us because all our laws condemn killing. Even all the religions, including African traditional religion, condemn killing. So it's a case, it's a criminal offense, it's a culpable homicide under the law, and the law will take its course.
It has been pointed out that the police was conspicuously absent when Deborah was being chased in broad daylight and eventually lynched and burned, and even when the hoodlums were protesting. But Deborah's father, Mr. Garba Emmanuel, has said that the police was actually present when this tragic incident happened. How do you respond? Is this true?
I'm not aware of that. Maybe Sokoto Command will confirm that. I was not on ground. Perhaps can channel your question to PPRO Sokoto, who's handling the matter. I only came to clarify this. He's the one that has been handling this matter, this conflict. The first PRO has not been talking on this, but I just felt that you honor this invitation. If you have further questions on whether police were on ground or not, you can channel your question to him, who is going to give you information. But whatever it is, that place is a campus. I don't think police are allowed to stay on campus, so I wouldn't understand. But let us get more far from him so that we can have proper clarification in that regard.
All right.
But I think I need to leave now. I want to be on Radio Nigeria Network.
All right.
And this is my time. 8:30 is my time. I need to be online by the studio by now. So you excuse me. And when maybe next time we can continue our discussions, please.
Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate you. All right. So let's come to Barrister Aderemi in this regard now. I mean, you heard the things that the Force PRO had to talk about and all of that. Let me also ask you from the perception and, I mean, the developments that have happened and all of that. It mentioned something about even if it's 20 years, the suspects will be picked and all of that. I mean, there is...
Statute of limitation.
Statute of limitation and all of that. I mean, the longer the case drags on, the more it seems as though people get weary and tired and just feel, oh, it's just one of those cases. And then, maybe it will die a natural death in that regard. Can people be confident that the law will take its course?
How do I answer for the people now? And maybe I should say, maybe you should ask, can I be confident? Yes, I can be confident, but with a rider. And that is, or with a cautionary word. And that is that, one, it is said that justice delayed is justice denied. One. Two, I have handled cases, personally, in different states in Nigeria, where the difficulty we had was time. The length of or span of time it took for the case to go on. And how does that play out? Witnesses that saw something last week would speak differently and more vividly, most likely, generally speaking, than a witness that saw something 10 years ago. Of course, I need not explain that further, all right? So things, because a lot of things, the way it works is, this is just psychology. When you see something, it sticks into your mind. There is an imprint, sort of in your mind. So if the more time passes, the more things you see. Those that saw the lynching of that girl have seen many things from when it happened. Some would have even seen worse things happen after then. So a lot of things would have overlaid on that. So definitely it's going to affect, most likely anyway, it is very much likely to affect how vivid their testimonies would be. One. Two, I know as a fact as well that many times when cases take too long, witnesses or prospective witnesses are very weary. One of them would even say, in fact, let me give you a live example. There's a case I handled like that in Abeokuta. When a robbery incident was alleged, and just about 3 years down the line, the witnesses that were called, one of them first said, meaning, why am I here? They told him robbery that happened, so and so. He said, really? That means I have forgotten. 3 years. It's the case I'm in actually, that I handled, personally. So that's 3 years, and of course it's understandable, because the man said he was allegedly robbed in that sin. So despite being a victim allegedly, he still said, really, I've moved on. Yeah. So imagine calling someone that is 10 years old as a witness, for example, that saw that thing, and calling him when he's now 20 years old, or 20 now but 30 then, or 35. So definitely that has a lot of, lagging effect on how cases are prosecuted. So we've seen, in fact, the states most times that prosecute face a lot of difficulties in this regard. They have to many times beg the witnesses, please come, so things like that happen. I mean, if they are hearing me now, they would confirm this. For every prosecutor, the longer it takes to get a witness, the more difficult it is.
All right. This comment from Akorede Cameo, it's a tweet actually. It says, I heard Lola asking Barrister Aderemi if charges against the suspected killers of Deborah can only be filed by Sokoto government, and the barrister said yes. Now, I'm tempted to ask, what about the school and her parents? The law doesn't allow them? Seeing as they are the ones who are directly affected, does the law not allow them to, be the prosecutors in this case?
All right, so there are two ways you're going to approach the court, either the civil way or the criminal way. One is the criminal way. A crime must have been allegedly committed.
Like in Deborah's case?
Exactly. What is a crime? A crime is anything that law says is wrong.
Okay.
All right. So if, for example, like in this Deborah's case, that's a crime. And when crime is committed, the law is that crime is committed although there's a victim, but the crime is committed against the state. Why? Because the state has made a legislation that act or omission is a crime. But for civil wrongs, it's not against the state. That's individual, it's personal. So if Benga is owing Lola, that's not a crime. If Lola is superior to Benga, that's not a crime. All right? That's a civil wrong. So on the basis of civil wrong. Parents, school, anybody, NGOs, CSOs can take it up, civil. But if it comes to crime, like we are seeing now, then it must be the states. That's the difference.
All right, there's another question here, but it preempts a question I was going to ask, which is, part of the dust raised with Deborah's murder is the legality or illegality of Sharia law in northern states. Can both laws coexist? Sharia law versus the Constitution. We are made to believe that the Constitution is supreme, comes before any other law, but somehow the northern states seem to be governed by Sharia law. And it is based on Sharia law that many Muslims who are outraged at the blasphemy say that it attracts this kind of punishments or a punishment of sorts. I mean, even a former aide to the president, Bashir Ahmed, once said that he supports death as the punishment for blasphemy. So is the Sharia law a legal, document or framework?
Sharia is one of the perfect examples of hypocrisy in Nigeria. Hypocrisy. So what that means is that there are, two laws operative in the north. Many parts, not all anyway, of the north. One is the penal code that punishes crime. The other is Sharia that also punishes crime. All right. Ordinarily, there ought to be, strictly speaking or loosely speaking, one law guiding a particular nation or place, a geographical space. What if Christians to come up and say we want to have Christ's law that will punish offenders? And will say Jesus Christ, when, for example, a lady was caught in the act of whatever, I can't remember now, she said, let her go. I think an adultery or something. Let her go. So what if we want to have a law as well that says that? That will make it 3 laws. Penal code for the secular, Christian code, for the Christians, Sharia law, or code for the Muslims. So that would create, chaos like we are seeing now. It's the government I would blame for this, the government of Nigeria, particularly the federal government and especially the state governments, to have allowed that in the first place. If those guys had known, or if they had known that Sharia was inapplicable in that place, lynching most likely would not have happened. Let me give you an example. If Deborah was to do that thing in Abeokuta, it's very unlikely that she would have been lynched. Because what operates is criminal code, no other law. But when you have double standards, you have a geographical space. There's a territory called, what's that state again? Sokoto, right?
Yeah. Sokoto State.
Called Sokoto State. And within that same geographical location, you have told your people that you allow both penal code and Sharia code or Sharia law. Then that's where the conflict emanated from. Whoever does that here, people look at where would you hear that you kill someone really? So that has never been taught in Ogun State, for example. It's not allowed. We don't have 2 laws for such things. So the lynching didn't start with those guys. It started with the government when they allowed Sharia law in that place. It's either Sharia or nothing. It's either penal code or nothing. It's either criminal code or nothing.
Concept to masters.
But where 2 or 3 laws are operative for the same crime in a place, people will be confused, like in this case. So these guys feel they are right because there's so much. You've heard about Hizbah in Kano, for example.
Right.
That's like a religious soldier, for Islam. So the more they allow this, the more confusion, maybe unintended, they create for the people. By the way, Section 417 of the Penal Code, which applies all northern parts of Nigeria, states that when what Deborah has done is done, the punishment is in 3 folds. 1, 3 years imprisonment, if found guilty. 2, payment of fine. 3, both. That is, to pay fine and go to prison.
Right.
3 years maximum. What the law says maximum. It can be less. In the southern part, Section 204 of the Criminal Code applicable in southern Nigeria prescribes only 1 punishment, which is 2 years imprisonment maximum if found guilty. So if found guilty and charged under the Penal Code, Deborah should have been in the prison for 3 years, or even paid fine and let go. Right? By the way, Sharia law is one of the laws I did when I was in university. Sharia law is not applicable to Deborah. Sharia law is not applicable to non-Muslims. In fact, Sharia law is not applicable to Muslims who do not wish to be ascribed as one. It is those that have elected personally, maybe by reason of their lives they lived or they live, that can be governed by Sharia law. So you can see the different complexities in that. So if you are a Muslim and a confirmed practicing Muslim, Sharia will guide you. But if not, so the first thing the court has to decide is this person a confirmed Muslim? You can imagine how dirty that's going to go, really. You know. So, but I'm not against Sharia to start with. If you are doing Sharia, do it. If you are doing penal code, do it. I've told you. But in Sharia, the punishment is a death sentence if found guilty. But Deborah was clearly a Christian. So Sharia, in the first place, should not even have applied to her. What should have applied to Deborah is section 417 of the penal code, like I said, which would have been maximum of 3 years imprisonment or payment of fine on both.
So the penal code does say something about blasphemy.
Absolutely. Just like in Ogun State, for example, if somebody insults another's religion, that's what the law says. You know, you won't see the word blasphemy in the criminal code, you know, or in the penal code. It's insult on religion or insult, you know, on someone's belief. In fact, if you read the requirements, we call them ingredients, you will see that it's almost a difficult thing to achieve. If I recall correctly, the requirement for insulting religion, you know, in the North is 1, you must have said something that affects a sect. A sect includes religious sect, Christianity, Islam, whatever.
Right.
2, by the way, remind me to talk about section 10 of the Constitution, which is against all these things we're even discussing to start with. Section 10 of the Constitution. All right. Now, you must prove that the person has said something that is directed at a particular sect. 2, you must prove that the person intended to insult and knew that it was wrong to insult that sect. So intention is so important. That means if Deborah had been tried, even in the North, in Sokoto, under Penal Code 417, and it can be proved that our intention was not to insult Islam. Maybe, you know, from what I read over the news, you know, the group was a school group. So it could be that, right. Yeah, WhatsApp school group. It could be that she was so angered that even me, Oluwa Kayode Aderemi, if I'm in a group created to write articles of Benga, you know, I know he does something like that, Benga Fire, and you start posting religious stuff, even if it's my religion, I may exit. I may not talk. Deborah is not as old and experienced as I am. So maybe she was just, angered by that, you know. And I have been nearly angry in similar circumstances where you want someone to keep on doing that. You know, post lectures, post reminders about lecture and the likes. Right. Don't tell me about, you know, your religion. Comes in that everyone is presumed innocent until proved guilty. So who knows? As well, dynamics are there, really, you know. So it's possible that she could even have been let go to start with. So again, I said she reminds me of section 10.
Exactly.
What it says is that no state in the federation shall adopt any religion as a state religion. The moment a particular religious law was allowed, section 10 was violated. Same thing for, you know, states sponsoring people for pilgrimages. It is wrong. Pinga, Wole Soyinka, for example, last time I checked, is an atheist. He doesn't believe in any God.
Right.
I believe he pays taxes. When atheists pay taxes, 1, call it tax A for atheist. Muslims pay taxes, call it tax M. Christians pay taxes, call it tax C. Are these taxes separated in the coffers of the government? No, this is for Muslims, this is for atheists, this is for Buddha, this is for Krishna, this is for this. No, they are lumped together. So you take from that pool of funds and sponsor some guys that are going on pilgrimage to go and observe their God. Excuse me. If I don't believe in any God, that would be unfair on my part. That, if morally speaking, legally speaking, statutorily speaking, this is very wrong. I see no reason why governments should have a ministry called the Ministry of, I don't know what they call it really, but it's really wrong. Someone was trying to defend that and saying that 3,000 people leave the country every year. That's how you have immigration now.
Right.
I mean, so please, it's wrong. That ought to be stopped. When you do that, you are fueling crisis, and one day there'll be a spark.
All right, before we get to the phone lines, let me ask you this question quickly. With all these clear contraventions of what the law says in Nigeria, can we still say Nigeria is a secular state? Because I hear people saying, oh, Nigeria is a secular state, Nigeria, but it seems like, we tilt more towards religiosity, either one side or the other.
The answer is obvious now. If Nigeria was a secular state, there would not be some, religion being predominant by the other. There will not be sponsorship of pilgrimage. It's your head.
But in the Constitution, does this say Nigeria is a secular state?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, but in practice?
I refer to Section 10. So there will not be pilgrimages sponsored by government. It's your business if you do all those things. How have those things helped anyway?
Okay, let's get to the phone lines now, as well as social media. 0704 400 1067, 0817 444 1067.
Let's plead that to keep your thoughts down to a minute. Please indulge us in that regard. Good morning to you. What's your name?
Good morning.
Yes,
this
good
is
morning.
Okay Michael from Abeokuta.
Thanks for calling. 1 minute. Michael, go on. 1 minute. It's counting.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much. I really want to appreciate the radio station and the guest, our lawyer in the house. He has really done so well. He has really done so well. So the only issue I can see about what is happening is our government is our problem in this country. And also our religious leaders give so much bastardize everything concerning their religion. So I just pray the Lord will help us in this country and make peace reign, because we are all tired of this country and what is happening. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for keeping it short. I also implore and plead with you not to lose hope regardless of whatever situation we might be embroiled in, basically. Hi, good morning. What's your name?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Tajuddin.
My name is Tajuddin from Agbo.
Thank you very
Good
much.
morning, Barrister Kayode Aderemi. Very brilliant barrister. Yes, thanks for your submission. Let me first clarify something that you said. You said Sharia law is strictly for Muslims and the law should not be binding on another person. Yes, I will agree and also disagree, because when we talk about blasphemy, you wouldn't expect a person of a particular faith to still blaspheme within that faith. So definitely, when we talk about blasphemy, it should definitely come from someone outside our religion. That's just by the way. Then on the issue of blasphemy, it is not only the Sharia law that states a death penalty, but the thing is, nobody is allowed to take law into his hands. Even in the Bible, the result, the penalty for blasphemy is death in the Bible.
Okay, Tajuddin.
So, but nobody is allowed.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm constrained to ask, what other religion?
No, which law?
What other law? Pardon me. Yes.
States death sentence for blasphemy.
What other law states death sentence for blasphemy?
Yes. Let me quickly let me read the book of Leviticus.
Okay. We need to also make clarifications. Law, not book. I think the barrister is also trying to get that out.
We're discussing law here. Sharia is a law.
No,
Penal code is a law. Penal code is a law.
When we are talking about Sharia law, the thing that constitutes Sharia law is the things prescribed in the Quran. So when we are talking about Sharia law is not something that scholars just sit down and bring together. It has to be coined from the Quran.
All right.
So that means that once we talk about the Quran, we can as well equate it with whatever we see in the Bible. Definitely.
All right.
So it's not it's not like the Constitution that people sit down and come up with. It is something that something has guided. So when we call it Sharia law, it is not that a law that has just been put together by people. It is a divine law. not a man-made law.
Okay, thank you very much.
So that's what I'm trying to explain.
Great, thank you very much for talking to us. We appreciate you. I would take more calls, but you can also make use of WhatsApp channel. The number is 0817-325-1067. We have another caller here. Let's engage this person. Say, hi, good morning. What's your name?
Hello, good morning. This is Nicholas.
Nicholas, please, you have 1 minute.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's no doubt that in the Mosaic law, death was recommended. Laws are commandments, whether from Amurabai, Moses, or Muhammadan, or Confucian. But the truth is that we are in a democracy, and this is 2022. Like the Barrister said, what is the morality behind destroying bottles of beer in the north by his back commander, which brings life to some businesses and families, and even give joy to some men? And the same back commander is found in a hotel with a married woman. Is it in the Quranic law that a man should be with a married man in a hotel? We need to know what we want to practice. For those of us who were born in the north, like myself, we know the law that is supreme in the north. And that is why we are saying it appears we need to review this marriage. Because God does not like divorce. At the same time, God does not like the loss of an innocent life. So we need to be sure what we want to practice and come together and put our rights into a sane government. Then we can pay our tax and live like citizens. But like you said, we will not lose hope. But when you look at the Nigerian state, hopelessness abounds more than hope. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. We appreciate you. Here is
Twitter is also... Oh.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Afolabi. I know you've been calling for a while. Thanks for calling us.
I'm calling from Abeokuta.
Right, 1 minute.
Yes. My own opinion is this. For me, religion is man-made. For me, religion is not from God. It is stated in the words of God that the words of God are not been known by men. So how come we now, and then it is also stated that God represents love. So if God represents love and we say we worship God, we have no moral justification to take anybody's life. In the name of defending God, why must we defend the God that is able, the God that can do anything, that can do everything? So I want to say it is a misconception. Religion will take us nowhere. And this is what it will always bring to us. So my question to the barrister in the house is this. With the allegations leveled against the perpetrators of this evil act, are those allegations not too watery to, give room for justice to Deborah?
All right. Thank you very much, Afolabi. I mean, you heard his question. He talked about the charges brought. I didn't know too
suspects. Watery,
not weighty enough.
That's what we started with now. It's not weighty enough. The charges are flawed with respect to whoever brought those charges. They are flawed.
Okay.
All right. Let's hear from this person. Hi. Good morning. What's your name?
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Olabode.
Yes. Thank you. Olabode.
Right. 1 minute, please.
Yes, I know.
Thank you.
Not unexpected anyway. I love the brilliant submission of the first cerebral prayer. Yeah, done irrevocably stated that the hot-headed lynchers can't be deemed to be Muslims. That's their barbaric conduct. So I can bank on his promise, and that is from that these criminals shall ultimately be apprehended. So his one honorable officer account on his word. There is barely any day I get to Abuja that I don't pay a cordial visit to his lofty office. So he's someone I know very well in person. He's my good enough. So let's count on that. And secondly, you see, extremism has a kind of multidimensional definition. So we are just limiting it to religion alone. And in most of my submission here, I always like to zoom things down to what directly affects us. If there is no deterrence, there is no punishment for crimes being committed, there is much more possibility that thing will continue. Let's push this thing to the last. There must be justice for Deborah. But at the same time, are we looking in our own quarters too? This same guy, I've forgotten the name of that poor lady now, that was killed just for ritual purposes. We've had about 2 or 3 or 4 different of that cases. Here in Abeokuta, not even Ogun State at large. What have we heard of them? Are we not talking about that? Wasn't that a kind of extremism in another
to go.
Olabode, it's past 1 minute.
Thank you very much for talking to us. We're due for a commercial break now.
That's right. We also have comments on social media.
I can imagine that WhatsApp will be on fire right now. I can imagine. But you can just send us your thoughts regardless on Twitter at Splash FM 1067. Also WhatsApp 817-555-1067. We have to let Barrister Aderemi go.
Yes. Although there are questions directed at him on social media, but he has an appointment.
I would like to say two things. One, give a clarification, and then two, leave us with a thought. Clarification is this: if you start discussing religious creeds, I can assure us we'll end up more confused than when we started off. Because which of the creeds are we looking at here? Is it Christian? Is it Krishna? Is it Buddha? Is it this and that? There are too much to look at. Is it for the atheist? Some of them have books. Is it Guru Maharaj's, creed or the like? So we're looking at laws. Sharia is a law. It's not Quran law. It's called Sharia law. 2, criminal code, south. 3, penal code, north. Those are the 3 laws that talk about crime in Nigeria. Laws, laws, laws. Finally, this is a thought. God is all powerful, we all believe. He's all knowing, he's all potent. My question is, why should we think of defending him when in actual fact he should be the one defending us? Thank you.
All right, then. So we'll take that break now. When we come back, we'll read your comments and get to the second segment of this. Stick around.
Don't dare touch that dial. It's Splash, your integrity station.
Oúnjẹ tó dára kọ́kọ́ ẹ̀ ní o balẹ̀. tó nílé tàlejò tó ń wọ̀lú Abẹ́òkúta. bí a ti ń béèrè pé ibo ni ilé oúnjẹ ìgbàlódé táwọn ti lè jẹ oúnjẹ gidi. má dojú tì mí Olúwa Foods. ńlá àwọn èèyàn ń júwe. kò lè má rí bẹ́ẹ̀. tọ́rọ̀jọ̀ wọn ti pẹ́ nínú ká tó oúnjẹ aládìídùn. àgbékalẹ̀ ọ̀tún. sílé oúnjẹ má dojú tì mí Olúwa gbé wọ̀. kò lẹ́lẹ́gbẹ́. bẹ́ẹ̀ni tẹ́bi òpá gan bá wọlé síbẹ̀. yóò fẹ́ jẹun níṣá. pẹ̀láwọn fried rice àti jollof rice tó rẹ̀ dòdò nínú glass. wá jẹmí lẹ̀fọ́ ẹlẹ́gùsí àtẹ̀fọ́rírò wí. ewédú àti gbẹ̀gìrì ògbẹ́yìn. òkèlè lóríṣiríṣi. àjàjàjà àwọn catfish wẹ̀láwẹ̀lá. tilapia fish. ògúnfẹ̀ àti káwọ́mẹ̀tì rẹ̀ rí gidigidi.
má dojú tì mí Olúwa Foods. Do you want the best local or international dishes? We got you covered as we give you the best when it comes to indoor and outdoor catering services. We also have bar where you can get any drink of your choice.
ẹ kàn sí wa lónìí. ní má dojú tì mí Olúwa Food House. tó wà ní number 1 Abiola Way. má dojú tì mí junction. Abẹ́òkúta ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn. telephone 0806-522-6442. má dojú tì mí Olúwa Foods. dishing out the best considering your budget.
ẹ gbọ́ kí ni ìlépa tó ṣe kókó láti di ọlọ́rọ̀ tí ò lẹ́gbẹ́ láyé.
ètò ọ̀gbìn jẹ́ ìlépa tó ṣe kókó tó sì gbọ̀ngbọ́n nítorí pé nígbẹ̀yìn yóò yọrí sí ètò ọrọ̀ tí ò lẹ́jà ń bá kàn nínú ẹ̀kọ́ tó yè koro àti ìdùnnú. ilé-iṣẹ́ First January Agro Investment Limited ní kí n sọ fún yín pé òjò ti dé àsìkò iṣẹ́ ọ̀gbìn ti bẹ̀rẹ̀. ẹ̀yin àgbẹ̀ àròkọ bọ́dún dé àgbẹ̀ oníṣu àmọ́dún ilẹ̀ oko Flourish Garden ti ilé-iṣẹ́ First January ń tà lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí gan-an nílẹ̀ tó bá iṣẹ́ ọ̀gbìn tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ ṣe yẹn mu. ìrìn ìṣẹ́jú mẹ́wàá ní Flourish Garden sí ọjà alábàtà 50,000 naira lẹ máa láǹfààní láti ra plọ̀tì kan dípò 100,000 naira tí wọ́n ń tà á tẹ́lẹ̀. ẹ tún máa láǹfààní láti gba raffle ticket láti lọ sílùú Dubai ní ìparí oṣù yìí. ogúnjọ́ oṣù karùn-ún ọdún yìí ní àǹfààní yìí máa wá sópin o. kàn sí wọn ní Ansarudeen House, Quarry Road, Pepsi, Abẹ́òkúta tàbí kẹ́ ẹ pè 08165646535.
Honey, must you go?
Baby, no, I must. Besides, you can always video call me.
Hey, what if your battery runs out?
I've got my power bank.
Hey, and when your power bank runs out?
Babe, I've got my laptop.
Okay, wait. What if your data runs out?
Babe, you know we never run out of data.
Never run out of data with Airtel Home Broadband Unlimited Ultra plans. Enjoy unlimited data with no speed cap plus extra data daily, so you never have to worry about running out. Visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to get started.
Babe, but I just left the house.
Yes, honey. It's video calling all the way.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
àṣeyọrí gan làgbà iṣẹ́ gbogbo aláṣeyọrí ayọ̀ aláṣeyọrí classium and property limited lónìí ọ̀pọ̀ ilẹ̀ wọn ti di wámútìrẹ́ báyìí lórí owó tí kò ga ju ara lọ randa extension hilltop máwùkọ́ àti kọbapẹ́ 100,000 ní plọ̀tì yìí bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni lóko wọn ti di ọ̀pọ̀ yùkẹ́ mo lọ́kẹ̀dẹ̀ 25,000 ní plọ̀tì kan bẹ̀ kọbapẹ́ alábàtà òṣèlè 30,000 ní plọ̀tì ẹ̀ra plọ̀tì mẹ́ta kẹ́ẹ̀gbá ìdajì sí bó sì jẹ́ ékalẹ̀ra òdìdí lẹ́gbàsí pẹ̀lú ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àǹfààní tẹ́ẹ̀jẹ̀ lórí ilé oko wọn torí pé àwọn onírà àti onímọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀ ti wà níkàlẹ̀ láti là ń lọ́yẹ̀ lórí kan tẹ́ gbìn sí ilé oko tẹ́ ẹ bára 4 mọ̀túndì abiolawe ilégoro daily express furniture ni wọ́n wà ọlọ́ṣogbo abẹ́òkúta Ògùn state 08033086557 08033086557 lóòótọ́ àṣeyọrí gan làgbà iṣẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ń bá wa ná dandan ní kẹ́ láṣeyọrí ayọ̀ lọ́dọ̀ tiwa àǹfààní yóò pin lógúnjọ́ oṣù táwa.
One na dey go sef one na body go dey dry for stand upon say bike don scarce or people wey dey bus stop plenty you come wait so tey your appointment don pass make una mind dey coole. Akko-Ride na better option for every corner wey dey Abeokuta as e big reach no fear o anything wey be safety dey assured una ride go dey go siriri. The riders plus the passengers dem get security wey tanda gidigba wey una still dey wait for go download the app on Google Play Store now. If na iOS e still dey go immediately. Na 500 naira bonus go sound for una app bam. Akko-Ride with shikini money una go carry body reach the destination wey dey una mind gangan. No dey waste time. Oya sharparly join body for the website www.akkoride.ng. No come forget say una go download the app on Google Play Store and iOS. Una security data dagidigba. Akko-Ride. Our riders dem get identification helmet plus jacket wey get number. Akko-Ride e dey safe, e dey secure, e still con dey affordable.
Panorama.
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 Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
We appreciate you for staying with us. Splash 106.7, the Integrity Station. The program is Panorama. We just got done and dusted with the issue of the day. But we'll have your comments grown through, by the way, from Facebook, Twitter, as well as WhatsApp.
Evidently, Barrister Kayode is no longer with us. So apologies if you sent in questions with your comments. He will not be able to answer them, but we'll read them regardless. Maybe I should begin with WhatsApp.
Okay.
All right, from WhatsApp, this comment says, good morning to everyone in the studio. I'm glad for the treatise Barrister Aderemi has given the subject matter. I wish the Force PRO is still online to respond to some of the issues emanating from this discourse. Be that as it may, I'd like to ask a question. With all the analyses done and problems identified, what is or are the solutions to these problems? That's from Ayodeji Famobile from Abeokuta. Well, I think actually some of these questions, they've been answered during the course of the conversation.
Right.
I mean, Barrister Aderemi gave us what the legal options are, what the fallout is based on historical antecedents, or what the fallout may be if the legal option is not explored based on historical antecedents. So the answer is somewhere there. This next comment is from Nicholas, and he says, we're still looking for the killers of Fumilayo Kuti, Dikibo, A.K. Dikibo, Dikbo Dino, Funshaw Williams, Bolaigi. So we should not blame Mama Deborah for leaving Deborah's case to the God of justice, who has no time for sections or subsections, lacunas or technicalities, interlocutory or ex parte injunctions. Up next is this one from Bamidele, who says, what exactly did Deborah say that is said to be blasphemy? Well, you can find it online if you search word for word. There's even the audio recording of what she posted on the WhatsApp group. But it's been translated because it was said in Hausa, I believe. This next comment says, good morning, Splash FM and the barrister. Thank you for the constitutional enlightenment. I want to ask the caller that called and said that blasphemy is in the Bible to please read his Bible very well. The old law in the Bible has been written off by the New Testament. Also, Sharia law is not the law of the country, and therefore it does not apply to other faiths. Nobody should impose his religion on other people, either through the law or other means. To kill somebody because you feel he or she blasphemed your God is to be fighting for your God. However, I still believe that any God that you ought to fight for all the time is no God. As a Christian, I will not fight or slap anybody for blaspheming Jesus Christ. All I will do is to caution the person, then leave the person to Jesus to deal with. If you kill somebody because he blasphemed your God, then your God is not capable of defending himself. That's from Olajuwon. Up next is, you didn't include, okay, Engineer Tiamiyu, I see from your previous message. And he says, good morning, Panorama and the entire crew. Nigeria's foundation was built on falsehood and hypocrisy before the white men forcefully joined the North and South together. They met Northern Nigeria being organized with their Sharia law. That was the reason why they allowed Sharia in Nigeria's constitution. So, well, I don't know where you got this bit of history from. But he says, so for the barrister to have said Sharia is hypocrisy, I beg to disagree. Rather, the foundation of all hypocrisy setting this nation backwards is the forceful amalgamation of various incomplete tribes. Well, thank you for your comments. Akinwale from camp, listening via Mixler at Ibadan. Thank you. He says, when people quote that part of the Bible in Leviticus, I smile at our gullibility. Have we seen the Christian folks come up with a law in that regard? The woman caught in the act of adultery, the punishment in the Mosaic law is death by stoning. But Jesus only said, he who is without sin should cast the first stone. That is a perfect example that the particular law has been overruled by two more laws as stated by Jesus, which is the greatest commandment is to love the Lord thy God with all your heart. And the second is, like unto it, love your neighbor as yourself. I hope I'm not preaching, but the truth remains that what God is teaching to us is love. He already stated that vengeance belongs to him. We don't need to avenge him. By humans first before Muslims, Christians, atheists, or traditionalists. Humanity first. About 80% of us practice the religion in which we are born. We would have practiced a different religion if we were born into another. This message is from Tajuddin, and Tajuddin says, it is disappointing to hear Barrister Kayode refer to Sharia law as being hypocritical despite claiming to do Sharia law in school. It simply means he lacks the understanding of what Sharia law entails. Hasn't he said this already when he called?
I did. Okay, well,
let me then skip over it and go to, okay. Well, this person is, let's not attack other people's opinion. I'll read the rest of your comments. You say the law in the book of Leviticus that a certain caller talked about was given before Jesus Christ came and modified those laws. There's a part of the Bible that admonishes Christians to leave vengeance to God. Jesus Christ also taught that if someone slaps your right cheek, you should turn your left side for him. And he says that nobody should talk about the Bible that they know next to nothing about. That's from Akpan SS. And that's about it from WhatsApp.
All right, let's run through comments on Facebook now. The first one, okay, well, I think that has been dealt with. The question from Emmanuel Akin today. Thank you for sending that in. Sheson Hezekiah says, I solely pray that, or my sole prayer is that the culprits will be trapped and brought to book on the issue of the killing of Deborah. But sentiment must be eschewed for cover-up. The politicians must steer clear of these likewise religion fanatics, bureaucrats, so that this act will not repeat itself. And Emmanuel Akin today later sent this, God bless you, my lawyer, you will eat the fruit of your labor. Thank you very much. Adeoshun Igbayilola Mide Olalekon says, if Sharia law is from the Quran and it is acceptable in the North, which written law is from the Bible and accepted in Nigeria? Well, I think your question has been answered in some way by the barrister. Zekaria Lubayatanikbola says, killing human being like Deborah is not good. Other punishment is better. Religion should preach peace and love. Arumoko Adeji Olushe says, good morning, Panorama. My take. Having listened carefully to our amiable barrister, Kayode Aderemi, I still insist that the only solution to all this is simply divorce. It's quite obvious, except we want to continue deceiving ourselves, that we are one Nigeria. May Nigeria never happen to you. Have a nice day. Well, we are one Nigeria and would insist on that, just like you're insisting on your solution. So this country can work and it will work. So that's it. And those are the comments we have from Facebook. You want to take us through Twitter comments?
On Twitter, I already read Akorede Camille's comments, so I'll just go to Adijimo Emmanuel's tweets. He says, guys, please let us disabuse this false statement concerning the Mosaic Law. Christianity does not kill for blasphemy, please. It is imperative. We do not practice the Mosaic Law at all. This is not Israel or Judaism. This is Nigeria. There are more comments from WhatsApp that I skipped, so I'll just run through them as quick as I can. Surakat Abdulhamid Abiodun says, according to the barrister, justice delayed is justice denied. What is the solution to this perennial problem in the judicial system in Nigeria? I mean, yesterday we talked about the state of justice in Nigeria. And, well, our guests tried to proffer solutions that he could think of. So he also says, I'm not justifying this, but even in the Sharia law as quoted by the barrister, it says that only if Deborah is found guilty and has anyone proved that she was guilty, so invariably what those people did is out of place and stands condemned. It seems the secularity of Nigeria only applies to the Southerners, therefore constitution must be rewritten to accommodate this change, or what do we tag this Deborah's killings? Next up is Ewa Rejoice Orji, who says, Barrister is no longer with us, but you say, what can you say about Nigeria as a member of Islamic organization in the world? Now my question is Nigeria a secular state or an Islamic state? I already asked that question. The government should first show readiness in educating the Muslim faithfuls against religious extremists in order to curtail these abnormalities. The government, okay, you repeated that comment. And Engineer Adeniro is accusing Benga of having skipped his comment on Facebook. So maybe you should find it so he's not offended.
Okay.
But Tajuddin also says he hasn't said this part on the call. Okay, well, let me see if I can run through it, because Tajuddin, I'm being careful. Your comment is leading to other people reacting to your comment, and then I don't want the whole counter reactions and reactions. But let me see if I can ferret out what I will read. Well, you say that the Quran is the principal source of Islamic law, the Sharia. Yes, you have said that. So let me check the other part and see what you haven't said. Tajuddin, you've said this, so I'm just going to skip over it.
All right, so been able to dig out Engineer Adeniro's comments on Facebook. He says, good morning, Benga, good morning, Lola, and I greet Barrister Aderemi to please, the issue of criminality will persist unless the court of our land do the needful. Now, where did we end the issue of Sylvester Timothy Adegoke, the lady who was murdered in BRT in Lagos, even the guys that killed a lady in Abeokuta for ritual, and the innocent citizens that brutalized and killed in Lekki? Bengalola, Barrister Aderemi, where is the true justice in our land? Engineer Adeniro, I've done justice to your comment. Thank you for sending that in.
All right, we hope all parties are now satisfied. Let's now head over to the newspapers. I have Nigerian Tribune.
I have Vanguard newspaper. I also looked through some other ones online.
From Nigerian Tribune, 10 days to presidential primaries. Southern PDP leaders with fresh option. African Development Bank President Adesina says, I am not running to be president. In 2023, U.S. vows to impose visa restriction on promoters of violence. Federal government tells Facebook to stop IPOP from using its platform to incite violence. An ASU strike, military men shoot in the air to disperse protesting Ondo students. You bet I'm going to come back to this story, because the military is always conspicuously absent when there are certain protests. And then when there are other types of protests, they come out in full force with their whole tactical gear, ready to swing into action. We'll definitely come back to the story. Convention. Confusion persists over delegates election as APC inaugurates panel. Government lists 10 Anambra local government areas for attack. Ushomole Fayemi, trade words over rigging allegation. 9 bodies recovered at scene of Kano explosion. That was a rather tragic incident. May their souls rest in peace. For Nigeria's existence. On Deborah, suspects can't be tried for mere breach of public peace. That's the NBA. Postpones conference slated to hold in Sokoto. Police declare suspect in viral video wanted. And that's about it from Nigerian Tribune's front
For the
page.
Vanguard, now the big story stays out to make national development plans work. Ekpo Atedo Peterside, others at Vanguard Economic Discourse. You find that on pages 20 and 21. Deborah, please declare suspect in viral video wanted. You find that on page 6. 2023, U.S. vows to impose visa sanctions or visa restrictions on promoters of violence. You find that on page 8. Soldiers fire gunshots to disperse students protesting ASU strike in Ondo. You find that on page 7. Nigeria in dire need of fresh start. Oshimbajo, Kuka, fire me, others. You find that on page 7. You're not doing enough to stop IPOB from inciting violence, Lai Mohammed tells Facebook. You find that on page 8. It's delusional arrogance to give any group conditions for existence. Presidency tells Northern Elders Forum. You find that on page 8. We also have this, why I can't run for presidency now. AFDB's additional. You find that on page 7. 2,340 APC delegates to elect presidential candidates if multiple riders. Now the first one says 44,045 for governorship candidates. The second rider, fate of super delegate hangs. The third rider, new arrangements favor emergence of northern candidates. The fourth rider now, north, 1,257 delegates. South, 1,068 delegates. And the final rider, Tinubu may dump APC if schemed out. That's according to an associate. You find that on page 5. And, there is a picture of several dignitaries at the Vanguard Economic Discourse, as well as another picture at the Afri-City Summit that happened in Kenya yesterday. Those are the headlines on the front page of Vanguard newspaper.
Well, I also see this, it's tucked in somewhere on page 29 of Nigerian Tribune. NAN's false report linking protest with Sokoto religious crisis launches University of Street in Akure. I know that caused Twitter to go all aflutter sometime over the weekend when a certain news channel had misrepresented what happened in Deborah's case as being linked to the ASU strike. But let's look now at that story that I said I was coming back to. Students from Ondo State tertiary institutions protesting over the continued strike by the university lecturers were on Tuesday dispersed by military men traveling on the Akure-Elisha highway. The angry students who started the protest on Monday had barricaded the Akure-Elisha expressway in Akure, preventing vehicular movement and causing traffic logjam for several hours. But the military men arrived at the barricade and aborted what was meant to be the second day of protests by the students. It was learned that the military men were traveling towards Abuja in about 3 trucks when they ran into the barricade of the students and had to stop to appeal to the protesting students to give way to their vehicles. But all the appeal fell on their deaf ears as the students asked the military men to turn back and shelve their journey or take another route. This infuriated the men, who started shooting sporadically into the air while protesters scampered for safety, and the road was cleared while the men went on their way. Even after the soldiers had left, the students regrouped and continued the protest. So it sounds like a case of they accidentally stumbled on. That's the military men. No, they weren't called there, but they stumbled on it, begged the students.
They were on a journey, apparently.
Abayomi, what's your take on this? Abayomi Babalola joins us for the analysis of the stories from the papers.
Yes, good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, Bunga and Lola. Obviously, from the news you read now, the soldiers were not heading for the protest ground. They were on their own, going somewhere else, and this happened. You see, one of the things that Nigerians have not really realized is that it's as if we are endangered species, in the sense that something will happen in a day and you expect common sense to prevail, that this thing could have been prevented. This protest of a thing, I have said it before now that the students have rights to protest, but you are punishing the wrong set of people. The other time when I came here, when I spoke about this, it was this Lagos-Ibadan expressway that was blocked. And for several hours, people were not allowed to go to their destination. Now, what happened on Akure-Ilesha expressway yesterday? If it were to be a patient that is on emergency case that got stuck in that traffic, it means that the students wouldn't have mind if that patient would die in the traffic. These are some of the things we are talking about. Those who are taking decisions, those who are behind this ASU strike we are talking about, they are in their offices. They are in the comfort of their offices. If Mr. President wants to leave his bedroom for his office now, nobody can stop him. The governors go to their office unhindered. The senators go to their office unhindered. These are the people that are expected to sit down and take these decisions.
But Abayomi, in 2020, it was a protest that got the Nigerian government to take notice of what the youths were asking for. It was this same strategy that got them, even though, as you said, they're in their offices, their rooms, they were not directly affected by the protest. But it's what brought national and even international attention.
No, that one touched the nerves of these people. It touched the core nerves of their body. That was why they reacted. That protest was not the first we'll be having. Now, on this ASU strike, how many days have we witnessed protest? It has been ongoing for like 3 or 4 weeks now. Did any of these people, did they show sign of being bothered? I would have expected the students to say they want to barricade the entrance of the National Assembly. They want to barricade the entrance of Aso Rock.
Do you think that will be allowed?
Okay.
For all the talk of protests being a right, do you think that will be allowed?
Tell me which protest has taken place that the police has given go ahead? People will just, it's a spontaneous movement. But for me, somebody that needs to go out to sell some things, to go to his business place, before he can be sure of his survival for that day, will be disrupted by these strikes, by this protest. And the people that are really, really in the position to take these decisions, they are not bothered.
So you're suggesting that the students regroup?
They should re-strategize.
Where the
people where these key officials will be affected. Look at some weeks ago, the airline operators were saying they want to go on strike.
Yeah.
And in matter of hours, actions were taken and it was sorted.
But Abayomi, isn't that, you say it's because it touched the nerves, the NSAS protest, it's because it touched the nerve of the government. The airline operators, from all indications, perhaps the reason why it was so swiftly called off is because it would directly affect these political bigwigs, given as it's politicking season and they have to travel a lot to campaign in several states to make their consultations, and this is perhaps maybe one of their most frequent ways of travel.
Yes.
By air.
Of course.
So it directly affects them. The ongoing conversation about the ASU strike and the government's seeming apathy it still boils down to the government doesn't care because it doesn't directly affect them. And the students now are trying to make the government care.
See, you make the government care if you do something that will directly affect them. I think when APC was preparing for their convention in, was it February or March, the one they did in Abuja recently, some days, the students planned a protest for Abuja some days after. I would have expected that you plan that protest to a time that these delegates, these people that will be going to Eagle Square for that program will be affected, not after they have finished their program.
Right.
That is what we are saying.
Okay.
If this kind of protest continue, if they come to Abeokuta today, I'll stay in my house. But then, those who are supposed to take these decisions, are they bothered? They're not.
All right, now let's look at this story from the Punch newspaper. It looks as though Deborah Samuel Yakubu might not be out of the news anytime soon. There is a development in this regard. Deborah Khan, Plateau Benue Church, is adamant, insist on Sunday protest. Apparently, the Christian Association of Nigeria says it will go ahead with its nationwide protests against the lynching of Deborah Yakubu, a 200-level student of Shehu Shagari College of Education, Sokoto, who was stoned to death and burned for allegedly blaspheming Prophet Muhammad. Now, apparently, there's a ban on religious protests by Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai. There's been an appeal by Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule and moves by some northern governors for Khan to shelve its planned protests. With this appeal or these moves by these northern governors and the insistence by Khan to proceed with their planned protests on Sunday, I mean, from a Christian body or from a religious body, shouldn't really be a bother for the government and for them to have appeal for them to shelve the protest. Is there anything for Khan to fear as well in this regard?
Khan has a lot to fear because the protest we saw over the weekend in Sokoto goes to show you that these people we are talking about, these protesters, I don't want to use a particular word for them. These protesters are daring. I saw some clips and you see the way they were. They almost confronted the policemen, exchanging tear gas and the likes. If Khan should go ahead with this protest, don't be surprised if these boys have a plan in place to disrupt that protest. And that disruption will not be a peaceful disruption. It's not going to be a peaceful disruption. So Khan will have to be very, very careful in this instance. Let's look at it this way. The police are saying, we are not going to give you permission to go ahead with that protest. And Khan insists the protest will take place.
Right.
Let's take it that the protest starts and people are having a peaceful procession and they were going. Of course, you do not expect any of them to carry weapons. But those who wants to disrupt that protest will not come empty-handed. And how do you now protect the people that you have taken out to protest? So it is better for us to allow wisdom to prevail. I said the other time that it's as if we are endangered species in this country. We have to be very, very careful. These boys, they are daring and they can do anything. If they can so confront military personnel, police personnel, it means that civilians will mean nothing to them. And they have the effrontery. I was expecting that some of them will come on board and tell Nigerians that, oh, we are sorry about the killing of this young lady. But they had the effrontery to protest the arrest of suspects. It means that majority of them, if that thing had not happened in that school, it could have happened anywhere, because majority of them believe that what the killers did was right. So it means that Khan will have to be very, very careful with this planned protest. Those who are planning the protest, they have their intention. They want the whole world to see what they are going through. But those who are planning to disrupt that protest, they have other agenda, and it could be bloody.
We're due for a commercial break very soon in about 3 minutes' time. But before we proceed on that break, the governors have appealed to Khan not to protest. I mean, should they have even made such appeals in the first instance?
The appeal would have been better made if this, for instance, those who have been charged were properly charged. And the governors, you see, the body language now is as if the northern governors are in support of this, but they are only trying to be careful. A particular resident, I mean, one of them sent out a tweet, and in a matter of minutes or so, he pulled down the tweet because of what he stand to lose. So it is believed that majority of them are in sync with him. And that is why Khan is saying we want to protest. If the governors really want to appeal to Nigerians or appeal to Christians, they should start with the charge sheet that is in court now, not disruption of peace. The way they put it. This is the least I expect would have been accomplice in murder or manslaughter. Not that they disrupted peace of the society. No. So if the governors really want to appeal and they want Khan and Christians to take them serious, they should start from there. That the charge sheet, amend the charge. The charge sheet is so disturbing, and I don't expect it to. It means that if Okada riders should just disrupt the peace of the people around them, you can just charge them with that as well. What is the difference between Okada rider blocking the expressway and some people who killed an individual deliberately, not even manslaughter now, deliberately, and you are charging them the same thing? It's never done.
Okay, let's proceed on that commercial break. We'll come back with proceed further with this, the second segment of Panorama called From the Pages. Stick around.
A wonderful morning starts with integrity. The integrity starts with you.
Splash FM 106.7.
Ẹ káàárọ̀ dókítà. Ọ̀gá Àjàó, ẹ káàárọ̀ o. Kí ló dé tẹ́ ẹ kó oògùn rẹpẹtẹ sọ báyìí? Dókítà, ibà máa ní. Ẹ má bínú o, báwo lẹ ṣe mọ̀ pé àrùn ibà ni? Dọ́kì, mo mọ ara mi dáadáa. Ọ̀gá Àjàó kò rí bẹ́ẹ̀ o, ìyẹn ò dára rárá. Àrùn ibà ò kì í ṣe nǹkan tẹ́ ẹ kọ̀ lè mọ̀ pé ẹni bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn, ó yẹ kẹ́ ẹ kọ́kọ́ lọ ṣe àyẹ̀wò àrùn ibà, rapid diagnostic test, RDT. Rapid diagnostic kíni? Àyẹ̀wò àrùn ibà. Àyẹ̀wò àrùn ibà ìfowóṣòfò lásán nìyẹn. Ohun táwọn èèyàn bíi 1,200 sọ káàrùn ibà tó pa wọ́n dànù nìyẹn o. Ó dáa dókítà, ẹ má bínú.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o, àrùn ibà kì í ṣe eré o. Kọ́kọ́ ṣe àyẹ̀wò fún àrùn ibà kó o tó gba ìwòsàn fún àrùn ibà o. Máa sùn sínú àwọn apẹ̀fọn lálaalẹ́. Tó o bá sì jẹ́ aláboyún, rí i dájú pé ò ń lọ fún ìtọ́jú oyún láti gba oògùn tó ń dènà àrùn ibà nínú oyún. Darapọ̀ mọ́ ìpolongo àrùn ibà pòfó bẹ̀rẹ̀ pẹ̀lú mi nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà. Láti ní orílẹ̀-èdè tí kò ní àrùn ibà, kó ipa tirẹ̀. Ìkéde yìí wá látọ̀dọ̀ ìjọba àpapọ̀ ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà pẹ̀lú àjọṣepọ̀ àwọn àjọ tó ń gbógun ti àrùn ibà.
Overjara no dey bother, it's plenty. Overjara no dey dry pocket. Overjara no dey way, it's plenty. If you want 8 times the value to flex, you go give you Overjara. Overjara, see the charge will give you Overjara. You deserve Overjara.
Get 8 times the value of any recharge plus double data and 1,000 Naira activation bonus when you buy a new SIM.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Belkuta, congratulations, yo! Hospitality industry leader, don't land the for Belkuta. Yes, ke Academy Suit. The Babala Hotel in Wetanda for Ibadan. The cultural capital of Yoruba land. Don't open for Belkuta Academy Suit. Una home away from home hotel. We get the Ogbonge comfort for we customer. Plus include leisure with proper cleanliness. Na Academy Suit to get arm. Plus include Olympic size swimming pool with security na watertight for our restaurant. You go Baladu Continental and the local food with the checkele money. Everything about Academy Suit na quality with unbeatable low price. To confirm waiting at the talkie. Forward match now to Academy Suit 20 Gidigba beside Abadia Central Mosque, MKO Abiola Way, Abelkuta, Abikukuma. They call this number 0817-6666-6601. Academy Suit na home away from home.
Gbogbo ọ̀nà irene níléeṣẹ́ àgbájọ homes and property Nigeria Limited àwọn ilẹ̀ wọn kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀ kẹ̀tíkẹ̀tí ló ń tà torí pé ó pọ̀ ju owó rẹ̀ lọ. Ilẹ̀ ìbára orílẹ̀ kọ́pàpẹ́ àgbòdo 200,000 ní tẹ́lẹ̀ báyìí lórí promo wọn 100,000 lẹ́sàn. Tẹ̀sí mọ̀ pé iléeṣẹ́ àgbájọ kò ní jẹ́ ta ilẹ̀ inú igbó láéláé. Ilẹ̀ ń bẹ ní Ìdíòrè onígangan òṣèlè kọ́pàpẹ́ ṣòdẹ̀kẹ̀tìtò bẹ́ẹ̀ sì nílé oko wọn igbó ọ̀rà ìbára orílẹ̀ ọ̀pẹ́jì 30,000 ní plọ̀tì kan bẹ́ẹ̀ bára plọ̀tì mẹ́ta ẹ gba ìdajì sí ó sì jẹ́ ékalẹ̀rà odidi lẹ́ẹ̀gbà sí táwọn tí ó bá yín gbìnrìn oko yín sì wà nílẹ̀ àwọn kan náà ni wọ́n bá yín tà á 39 NTA Road Ọgbẹ̀ Abẹ́òkúta 07044648338 07044648338 ẹ jẹ́ ká gbé ìgbésẹ̀ àtẹ̀mí àti àwọn ìsì kọ̀ọ̀kan kù ogúnjọ́ oṣù tá a wà yìí láǹfààní yìí.
Fakole Marale.
ẹ paná ẹ ó yá ẹ tún kìkì ẹ rè sí ẹ.
ẹ má bínú ẹ jẹ́ ń sáré yọsẹ̀ fún mọ́tò yìí. kí ló dé? ó dàbí wípé bátìrì ló ń yọ mí lẹ́nu.
àrè.
méjì ní yín lẹ́nu.
tí bátìrì bá ń yọ ọkọ̀ lẹ́nu ẹ wàá mọ̀nà ilé iṣẹ́ Atco Die Hard battery níbi tí wọ́n ti ń ta ojúlówó bátìrì mọ́tò.
ìkan náà ni gbogbo àwọn tó ń ta bátìrì ó ti sú mi.
padà Atco Die Hard battery tayọ àwọn ẹlẹgbẹ́ wọn nítorí bẹ́ẹ̀ mi díje ni gbogbo bátìrì téèyàn bá rà lọ́dọ̀ wọn. ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ báyìí nínú àwọn oníbàárà wọn ń dùn nítorí kò sí pé mọ́tò ń paná láàrin títì mọ́ kò sí irú bátìrì tẹ̀ ń wá tí ò sí lọ́dọ̀ wọn bíi 40 amps 60 amps 75 àti 100 amps battery lówó tí ò hàn. Atco Industries USA Nigeria Limited ló ṣe ojúlówó Atco Die Hard battery.
níbo wá ní ilé-iṣẹ́ Atco Die Hard battery wà báyìí.
wọ́n wà ní nọ́mbà 15 Oníkólóbó Abẹ́òkúta telephone
0703-928-5741 tàbí 0703-116-4983.
ó yá nìṣó níbẹ̀ kó lọ ra battery ní kíákíá. Atco Die Hard battery ojúlówó gbà.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
Then, thank you very much for staying tuned. We'll still proceed with Panorama here, and we'll have more stories to touch on, right?
That's right, we do. Now, let's look at the lead story from the front page of Nigerian Tribune, where it looks like Southern PDP leaders have finally decided to take maybe a more decisive action to ensure that the presidency is from the South. It says that 10 days to the presidential primary of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, there are signs that some leaders of the party from the states in the southern part of the country have initiated fresh moves to forge a united front. It is said to be part of some pragmatic moves to ensure that an aspirant from one of the 3 zones in the south gets a PDP ticket. The other option said to be on the card of the leaders is that in the event of the ticket not coming to the south, whoever would be a PDP candidate should be a northerner with strong roots in the south. The talks have been held by key PDP politicians from the south, southeast, and the southwest, who felt it was imperative to have a plan B because the party leadership resolved to throw the race open instead of explicitly zoning the ticket to the south. I mean, Abayomi, what do you make of this move by the southern PDP leaders?
Lola, I don't want to bother myself about what is happening in APC or PDP for now. You know why? We have no say in the primaries. With the look of things, the two parties, they have their plans in place. But they just push out some narratives for us to talk about every day. And at the end of the day, they will come out with their master plan and they will show everybody.
Right.
Take, for instance, of course, we are talking about PDP, but in APC, where some days back we saw the rush for the 100 million naira piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
And in matter of hours, some people who have paid 100 million now started withdrawing. Some who said it was their committee of friends that gathered 100 million naira started withdrawing about now.
Yeah.
You see, I do not even expect them to give an option B to their counterparts in the north.
I mean, what does a northerner with strong roots in the south mean?
Of course, I'll tell you a couple of them that has that strong roots. Atiku will tell you that he has been romancing the south for a very long time. He has a wife from the southern part of the country. He visits southern states so he can claim to be qualified. Yes. Yaya Bello. Okay, that one is even in APC. Mm-hmm. You see, all these people, they have their game plan. I just don't want to bother myself. Let's wait for their primaries come May 29. by midnight, May 29th, we'll know where we are going from.
But Abayomi, inevitably, whatever becomes the outcome of the presidential primaries by both parties will definitely set in motion what will happen at the election in 2023. But do you think that the Southern PDP leaders did not do enough to get the PDP to make a decisive action on ensuring that whoever emerges as the party's flag bearer for the presidential position is from the South? Do you think they did not do enough? Do you think they were not a united front? Do you think even these moves is coming a little too late?
It's not that they do not do it. They have not done enough. I think they tried, but they were disadvantaged right from day one.
By?
They were disadvantaged by the population. Take, for instance, the number of delegates that will come from each zone. Of course, the North has more delegates. So it means that if...
Why wasn't this a problem in the previous elections?
It was.
But that didn't seem to get in the way of zoning in the past elections.
Because it was zoned to the North outrightly.
No, I mean, the times when it was zoned to the South, why wasn't it a problem that the North has more numbers for delegates?
Lola, there was no time that we had a prominent election like this zoned to the South, except that of 1999. And
Good luck, Jonathan presidency.
No, it was, you see, they started by telling us this doctrine of necessity. You know, Jonathan took that office from the late Yaradua.
He contested and won a fresh election.
He won a fresh election because they felt that, okay, let's allow this guy to just go. He's in the office already. And because of that incumbent powers he had, he was able to cajole them. Now, why didn't he win the second time he contested? Because they have made up their mind that this thing is coming back to the North. And that of 1999, because of because of the problem of June 12, 1993, the North felt that, okay, we have to appease these people. And
according to your narrative, you sound as though you're saying the North sits somewhere and then decides what will happen for the entire country.
With the look of things, it's as if that is what is happening. Because if you look at APC now, from the papers this morning, it's as if they are throwing the contest open now.
Isn't that insulting to the South? Because it makes us look like we're helpless and impotent in the face of whatever machinations and schemes the North is dreaming up.
You see, it makes us feel less important. And you know, when somebody feels less important or not appreciated, you know how that will work on that person's psyche. But then, I would have expected that, okay, to your tents, O Israel, let the North present their candidate. Let the South present their candidate. If we can have it that everybody should vote for their own candidate of their own zone, we'll still come back for a runoff. Because the Constitution has told us the number of states, the percentage of the votes you must acquire in 24 out of the 36 states. And I don't think any candidate from any zone or a zone can single-handedly get that figure. So there will be a time where you still have to compromise. That is where I expect the negotiation to come in. But with the look of things, we'll be having a northern president come 2023.
All right, it's time to allow you to be part of the conversation. We have to wrap this up in about 10 more minutes or less. So feel free to call us now. The numbers are 0704 400 1067 0704 400 1067 0817 444 1067 0817 555 1067. That's just for WhatsApp alone, but 0705 050 1067 also works very well.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hola, buddy.
Yeah. No, this is OSA from Abeokuta.
Oh, okay. Go on, please.
Yeah, two quick interventions, please. I'm compelled to react to two comments that people made, and sadly, you didn't correct them. Before the barrister is accused of blasphemy, the barrister never said Sharia law is hypocritical. The barrister said the practice, the existence of true law in a community, in a society, is hypocritical. That you can't penal code governing a place, and you still have Sharia code at the same time. That is what he said. He never said, he said, you can have Sharia law governing the place, or you have the criminal law or the penal code governing the place. That's what he said. He never said Sharia law is hypocritical. So people should not accuse him of that. That's one. Number two is that people said that, what is it? Somebody asked the question that what is it that the lady said that caused the problem? I've listened to it. I did everything to find out what actually happened. And I would love you to do, there's something called investigative journalism. Now, for instance, the man you invited last week told us that he had some audio tapes, chronicling what the lady said in the past, how she has been warned and what have you. My investigation so far proved that that is incorrect. Now, the lady was, somebody asked in the group that how did the lady manage to pass a test an exam that many of them failed? And she said, it is Jesus. Now, immediately people now started, accusing her, blackmailing her, threatening to kill her. And she responded by saying, Holy Ghost fire. Nothing will happen to me. Is it by force that you guys will always be sending this religious stuff in this group? The group wasn't created for that, but rather as a notice on test, assignments, and exam, etc. This nonsense religious post is wrong. That is what she said. So people should now tell us what is blasphemous about that. And if that is blasphemous, now is jungle justice or mob action the right way to go? Thank you.
Thank you very much for talking to us. Abayam, you want to address something?
You see, if we continue to, everybody wants to defend his own religion, we won't find peace. That is just what I'll add to that.
All right, 0704 400 1067, 0705 050 1067. Hello.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Nicholas Maduguta.
Thanks for calling again, Nicholas. Go
on. The barrister is responsible for what he said, but he's not responsible for how it was listened and understood. Because we know when the barrister used the word hypocritical and what he aligned it with. But that's not my issue. My issue is now that Lola did not control this country. I don't know if you know or you believe.
How do you mean? States, how do you mean?
They have more states. They have more allocations. This was well articulated when they had more northern generals as presidents. And that meant that they had more numbers in the assemblies. And that is why Buhari will tell you, go to the assembly. Because they know that once they decide that men should marry men and they have more votes, it starts. Sabayomi, you will agree with me that in 1999, the powers that be wanted peace in the West. And they made sure Obasanjo became president, even though some people felt Ekweme was more competent. And when Goodluck took over, when Yar'Adua died naturally, as a sitting president, the powers that be were not prepared for a Buhari presidency. And they made sure Goodluck won. So now it becomes strange when people who benefited from quota system and federal character find it difficult to understand why the presidency should be zoned to the east when it is micro-zoned to the south. But either way, like you said, I agree with you, the next president is likely to come from north. On the issue of a protest, we need to distinguish between cowardice and bravery, between hypocrisy and pragmatism. If Martin Luther did not march, the blacks would not be free. If Gandhi did not march, Indians would still be in slavery. If the Aba women thought of what would happen to them in 1929, they would still be paying taxes to the British. If Funmilayo Kuti thought of what would happen to her, she would still be paying tax to the Alaki. We cannot commit suicide because we are trying to avoid a war of justice. How long shall we wait? Protest is internationally allowed. Even in Tunisia now, a more Muslim nation, there are protests. In America last week, when that white man shot those 12 black men, the black people could not go and start shooting and killing the white policemen. It was protest they used. Huxley said a man might be powerless to fight justice, but he shouldn't be powerless to protest. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
All right. Let's maybe take one or two more calls. One more. Or perhaps we should run through WhatsApp and Facebook,
Okay,
as we have to go quickly. This comment from Olajuwo says, why are Nigerians disturbing themselves over PDP and APC? There are other parties, therefore Nigerians should vote for them rather than these two deceiving parties. Also, little attention was given to the gruesome killing of Mr. Sunday at Lekki. The people that did that also behave like the people that killed Deborah, but under another guise. Justice should be given to the family. I am indeed interested in this, as these people have put the wife and 2 children in serious agony. Well, that story did not make the front page of either of the newspapers.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, of course, that story is deserving of attention, and I believe that as well. This comment here says, I love how Lola addressed the South as we, even when she's from the North Central. This is what should be the case for us all. We should look after ourselves, not minding which region we belong to. Thank you, Lola. God bless you. Well, thank you, but I mean, I didn't exactly mean we. I just meant, we who reside here in the Southwest. Not that I'm saying I belong to any region or whatever, but I'm just saying that I meant we who reside and work and live in the Southwest.
You belong to everybody.
And nobody. Yes.
Okay, on Facebook, Agua Samuel says, do the government even know the implications of keeping the students out of school for so long in this already insecurity-plagued country? The perpetrators of some hideous acts in recent times are the youth who are either unemployed or out of school. How about the economic implications? Those ones whose source of livelihood depends on what they sell on these campuses. The influential ones in Nigeria who are supposed to wade in with their affluence are nothing but a mirage.
And on Twitter, Kayode Camille says, I'm afraid the dangerous tread the government is setting is to halt protest of any kind in the country. What business does the Nigerian army have in the peaceful demonstration of aggrieved students against continuous ASU strike? If CAN will hold the protest in front of their places of worship as reported, then I urge them to proceed. I would love them to amend the charges, but we've been told it's something that only the government can do, but religious body can monitor. Let's make this, can we make this our final call?
Yes, we can. That's not a very pleasant sound. Good morning.
Am I on?
Yes, you are.
We can hear you, Ayarujo.
We can hear you.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
Oh.
Okay, we might have to let you go. Please do call us again if you can. Hello, good morning. Can you hear us now? Okay, I think it's eventually just gone off on all of that. Let's proceed with the comments that we have on Twitter now.
We are done with the comments on Twitter and on WhatsApp. Okay, well, we have this one here from, Akinwale from Camp also added another one that I somehow missed. He says, I'm a firm believer in humanity. We are first human before we identify as male, female, rich, poor, Muslim, atheist, or whatever. Why can't we just do the right things for once? Must the soldiers shoot in the air before they disperse the students? I know they are providers of more than essential services, but is that a rule of engagement? Why would you shoot where people without any weapon are gathered? Was there no tear gas at hand, or in fact, find another route? I hope one day human life would be worth 1 naira in Nigeria, because it appears to me that our life is worth nothing to those in power. I'm not even talking about rulers or leaders. I mean people who are at advantage over one another.
All right.
That's it.
Have to go at about this point in time. Thank you very much for joining us. Abayami, thank you so much for coming through for the second segment.
Thank you for having me.
All right, then.
Thank
you,
tomorrow, everyone. Join us again tomorrow.
Right.
Benga and Odera.
That's right.
My name is Lola Meduteni.
I am Benga Fayo. Have a very great day. Bye for now.